Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Lenny Robbins YouTube channel. I want to say welcome a bright and prosperous and peaceful day for all Jamaicans, Monday the 26th of April. And I must also extend that for the weekend throughout, even though we can only take it one day at a time because that's what the Master gives us, one day at a time. So I want to wish all Jamaicans, wherever you are in the world, a one day at a time blessings. Blessed love all Jamaica. Now, as usual, I normally goes to the Daily Gleaner. That's the first thing I do in the morning when I'm up. I always try to follow what is happening in my country. And also I take a snippet also on YouTube to see what the hot topics are on YouTube. However, I hope the Gleaner online and I went to the publication of the star section first, because that has less information for me to read to go through. I can go through that section quicker. In getting to the star publication of the 26th of May, an headline captured my attention. The caption reads, "Sex Offender Registry Danger. Advocate says making public names could be harmful." Now, the advocate says making names public could be harmful. That's in relation to sex offenders, which include child molesters, rapists, maybe sex trafficking, and all of these things, and human traffickers. But however, I say to me, and her contention is that making that public could lead to what is called jungle justice and vigilantism. Let me clear this first for you, Miss Golotta. If I pronounce your name correctly, thank you, and if I don't, my mistake. I stand to be corrected. But let me make this clear to you, ma'am. What you're saying is absolute incomplete, and I must rubbish it from that standpoint. It's incomplete. The mere reason that making the names of these sex offenders, or especially child abusers, is harmful because it could lead to public outrage such as vigilantism, jungle justice, is absolutely one-sided, lopsided in your argument, Miss Carlotta. I'm going to say this to you because just by reading what the Gleaner published, I'm not sure, and I can't say you did not have a balanced opinion of how the justice should be served and whether you make any advocacy on behalf of the victims in these cases as sex offenders victims are. I'm not sure you made any reference to their case or their issue on their side of the crime, or you're just advocating for sex offenders. But based on what the Star published, I'm reading from that, and that is what I'm commenting on, what the Star itself published. And if what the Star published is true, Miss Golotta, I can say to you, you're not a crime victims advocate. You're not advocating on behalf of the victim of the crime. You're advocating on behalf of justice, the offender. And the first thing you should have learned and know and think about before you make this kind of comment is that justice is not a one-size-fits-all. I've been a crime victim specialist for 10 long years, Miss Golotta. A crime victims advocate for 10 long years. Covered all age group, all groups of people, all races, all crimes. And including in sex offenders, child molesters, rape, human trafficking, sexual abuse. All of these things come down to sex offenders. Sex offense, I should say. And people who commit these crimes are sex offenders in reality. And let me say this to you, ma'am. Jungle justice. The jungle justice you're afraid of is the same jungle justice the offender is meting out to the victim. The vigilantism you're afraid of that is going to happen to the sex offender is the same vigilantism he's handed and meting out to his victims. I can't believe, Miss Galata. I don't know where you're coming from with this. I honestly don't. But like I said, I'm just commenting on what was published in the Star. And I don't understand how you could not have sit down to think this thing through before you make that comment. Am I to understand the Gleaner just published a part of what you said? Because they want to create some sensationalism around your entire speech. I don't know. But I'm speaking from what I have read so far. And it is absolutely lopsided, as I said. Are you telling me, are you trying to tell me that it's okay for a man to go to prison? The law must investigate these cases, find the offender, prosecute him, and allow him to serve his time based on the law. But what happens after that, Miss Galata? What happens after that? Where does he go after that? Does that mean he won't commit the crime again? So why shouldn't his name be public? And I'll tell you why it should be. Is it okay for a man to go lives in Kingston, commit sexual offenses against a child, or anyone for that matter, or an adult, anyone, moves to Clarendon, lives next door to a person who has 2 daughters, a 10 and a 5-year-old, and that person has no knowledge that a sex offender lives next door? The man is a sexual predator. He lives next door to my 10-year-old and 5-year-old daughters. He came over to introduce himself to us as a family. Well, he's a friend, he's a neighbor. We're going to have to talk to him at some point. And you're telling me I have no right to know that he's a sexual offender? Are you telling me I have no right to know he's a sexual predator who specializes in young girls or females? Are you telling me that? You got to wheel and come again, Miss Galata. I believe, and come from my 10 years of experience working as a crime victim specialist, these people the public must have access to the sex offender registry. Must have access to it. It cannot confine itself just to the justice system alone. There is no point in creating it just for the justice system alone. And remember this, man. Remember this. Sex offenders, 99.9% of sex offenders are trusted people. People who are trusted and have access to their victims. And don't tell me that is not vigilante when they do that to young kids or to anyone for that matter. Don't tell me it's not jungle justice from them to the victim. Don't tell me it's not. Because I can produce to you the evidence to show you that their action is jungle justice. Their action too is vigilantism as you so described it. Let me ask you this question though, Ms. Galata. Would you be prepared? Would you be prepared to fund a program in prison, in the correctional services, so when these sex offenders go to jail, you yourself and some counselors will at least take 10 hours a week to meet with these guys under special circumstances? You with your advocacy and counsel with their expertise to counsel them, sit down with these guys and try your best to redirect them to another way of life? Are you willing to do that? Your concern is not for public safety. Your concern is for the sex offender. I'm not sitting here to ridicule everything you said, ma'am. I'm just saying what the glean that they was published in the Star publication. As I said, you might have said more to that, but this is what is advertised, because I know what these print media, how they operate. They sometimes just take snippets of your entire speech or comments and just put it out there. But if, like I said, if it is so, you're absolutely wrong in your approach. There's evidence out there to show, empirical evidence proven to show that these people are also vigilantes in their own rights. Vigilantes are not just public who takes action against a person who commits a crime. How can you profile my daughter for weeks and months until you see your opportunity and then you take advantage of her? And you go to prison and you come back. And you move to Clarendon. And move next door to another family who has children. And you do the same thing over again? Isn't this vigilante? Isn't this vigilantism as you so describe it? Isn't the man now a predator, a vigilante himself? He is. And let us be honest, ma'am. Let us be honest. Like I said, victim, justice is not a one-size-fits-all. It's not a one-size-fits-all. You mentioned the man who died out in St. Thomas, who the public mistook for the man who had abducted and raped 9 girls and they killed him. How often does that happen, ma'am? In cases of sexual abuse or sex offenses, how often do we hear about these kind of things happening? It will happen, yes, when public outrage is so high and desperate to find solution. That a slight resemblance can cause them to do the wrong thing. It's unfortunate. So which is more unfortunate? A public killing the wrong man or the right man gets away with it? The criminal or the offender gets away with it. Which is more offensive here? Get away with his action. And as I said to you, Miss Galata, sex offenders are trusted people in society. Pastors, business people, prominent community members, teachers, doctors, nurses. These people have access to people. Trusted people are offenders. Family members who are trusted, uncles, nephew, brother, niece, daddy. Trusted people, people who are in close proximity to their victims, who have access to their victims. Their name should be made public, Ms. Galata, and I would advise you to change your stand. I will provide the evidence. Provide the evidence of the vigilantism you talk about and the evidence of jungle justice so outrageous that you have to raise a voice, and you would not recommend it under no circumstances that their name be made public. Because I'm sure you cannot provide the evidence that would demand that their name remain private or in secret, only accessible to the justice system. Now let me ask you also, when their names are available only to the justice system, what does the justice system do with that? The man does his time in jail and moves from Kingston to Montego Bay or to St. Elizabeth. And he goes to St. Elizabeth, friendly people in St. Elizabeth. And he presents himself as a friendly neighbor too. And I am there sitting down on the veranda with him having a beer and don't know that the man, I have no idea that the man has eyes on my daughter or my wife or my sister or some other female relatives in the house. Just waiting on an opportunity to strike. Now, what is the justice system aware that the man no longer lives in Kingston and now lives in St. Elizabeth? These are the things you should be advocating for. That he moves from Kingston, he now should tell the registrar exactly where he lives, register with the registrar. Because if he's found to be living in St. Elizabeth, When he does, and he did not change his address with the registrar, that man has committed a crime. He would have committed a crime for which he will be sentenced again to prison. Should go back. You need to wake up, Miss Galata. You need to wake up. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to use this opportunity to say blessed love to all Jamaicans wherever you are. The society is really decaying. It's decaying right before our eyes, but a lot of us not taking it serious. Most of us still not taking it serious because I see where the struggle is real. People, yes, it is real, and it's getting harder every day for people. With all the jobs Miss Williams talk about available in her budget speech and people not wanting to pick up these jobs and all that things. I don't know what she's talking about, where she gets that from. But the struggle is real, life is hard and all of these things. So I can understand where people are coming from, where they're not taking certain things serious. But I'd like people to understand that these are the things we need to take serious so we can have a better quality of life. It's not money alone is going to redefine the quality of life we live. You understand? So we have to understand that success in life is being redefined as we go along. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Lenny Robbins YouTube channel. Let us get to know each other and try our best to help each other as we go along. Blessed love to all Jamaica, to wherever you are. And I'll see you in my next video. Welcome. Thanks again.